This is Karen Nettleton. Karen's three grandchildren and two great-grandchildren have spent the past 5 years living under the brutal ruling of Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. Karen has decided to go to any lengths to bring her grandchildren back, kept in Syria, putting life in danger in one of the most terrorizing times in Syria. She has made up her mind. Her daughter is a citizen of Sydney, Australia. Unfortunately, she met and married Khaled Sharrouf, a foreign fighter who in 2013 traveled to Syrian territory to fight in the Syrian civil war. She even converted to Islam. The grandmother's concern for her grandkids is to have a good life, a place to sleep, eat well, be safe, and have a normal life. Karen asked the government to bring back her grandchildren, but they say they can't, so she's going to get them herself. Her plan is to knock on the door, say she's the grandmother of the Sharrouf children, and I'm taking them home. Karen raised her child, Tara, as a single mother in Sydney, Australia. At 15 years old, Tara dropped out of high school, moved out of her mother's house, and out of contact. Karen was heartbroken. She knew that Tara loved Sharrouf, so she accepted it because that was the only way she could have a relationship with her daughter again. The Sharroufs had 5 children. It was a happy life for all. The kids had fun, grandma interacted with them, everything seemed pretty normal. But life took a turn. Sharrouf was mixing with hardline extremist notorious cleric Abdul Nassan bin Prika, who visited Sharrouf's house in Sydney. Cleric Abdul says Osama bin Laden is a great man. In the early hours of the morning, more than 400 policemen raided homes in southwest Sydney as part of one of the highest counter-terrorist operations. In 2005, Sharrouf was arrested and pleaded guilty to a terrorist attack where he served 4 years in prison in Australia. The terrorist's view is to kill in Allah's name. It is that simple. A year later, Sharrouf used his brother's passport to go back to Syria. In early 2014, Karen and Tara went on a holiday to Malaysia. Tara went with her children onto Turkey, but never came home. When Karen realized her children were in Syria is when one of her grandkids sent her a picture of her and her brother. She had her location services turned on, and it came up Syria. After some time passed, chaos kicked in Syria, and 3 of Karen's grandkids started attending terrorist ISIS camps, where they will be trained to kill and use weapons. But it gets worse. One of Sharrouf's and Tara's son is now holding a man's severe head. I hope you guys are enjoying this story. It gets better, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the story and what's really going on right now. So far, I picked up that Tara was in it with her husband, Sharrouf, because when they went to Malaysia on a vacation, Tara ditched her mom and went on to Turkey. And before that, if you noticed, Sharrouf had already left the country. He used his brother's passport to go back to Syria. So he tried to hide it from the government that he was over there. I don't know if he was on parole or anything like that. If you continue to watch the story, you'll know what happened to the parents, if they're alive or they died, and how the grandma ended up getting her kids back, or if she even got them back. Please subscribe and share, and don't forget to click on the notification bell to get updated every time I post a video like this. Thank you. In 2015, Tara fell ill and was taken to a hospital in Iraq. Tara wanted to leave, but one of her sons didn't, so she couldn't live without her son. A few months later, Tara died of a perforated intestine. 2 years later, after Tara passed away, in August 2017, Sharrouf was killed in an in-strike with his 2 sons.
Sharrouf and his wife took their children into a war zone, and if they have been killed, well, what other outcome would they expect? They're obviously horrible people.
My view of Khaled Sharrouf is that he was a very bad person, an evil person. He put himself first before his family, and when I was shown a photo to identify him shortly after there'd been an attack and half his face was blown off, I had no feelings of sadness or remorse other than for the children.
Tara's dead, Sharrouf is dead, the 2 oldest children are dead. So, if you think back in the beginning, they had 5 children. So there's 2 girls left and a little one. Now that the parents are dead, if you notice, there's 3 kids in Syria now in this chaotic place. Now, Where they're going to be at, where they're going to end up, who they're with is what we want to know, and how they're going to get back home, if they get back home, and how is grandma going to get them. Are they safe? Are they alive? Is grandma going to get to see her grandchildren again? This is something we're about to find out. Stay with me. Karen's contact with her children were patchy, and sometimes there was no contact at all.
Oh, God.
Then came a plea from a 16-year-old Hoda, begging to come home. Late last year, 2018, Karen planned another rescue mission, this time using smugglers who promised to deliver Hoda safely to Turkey. It wasn't long before the rescue plan derailed. Karen was told that everything was called off because people who were gonna rescue her put the price up. Far quite a bit, equivalent to $100,000 in Australian money. A few days later, Hoda talked to her grandmother again, seeking out for help. Not able to do nothing, Karen went home. She had a nervous breakdown and ended up in the hospital.
Okay. And then we can look.
I'm so sick of being here.
I know. I mean, I promise you it won't be long.
I don't know what to do with myself anymore. I'm scared it's not going to work, and what am I supposed to do? Every single time I see someone, they ask me, why don't you want to get married? You want to get married, this and that? And they ask me about marriage, and I don't know what. And I can't just say, I don't even want to be here. I'm not free to say that here.
It's not going to be long, I promise. And we'll get you out of there.
Okay. I hope so. I'm sorry.
And don't be sorry. Don't you ever be sorry, ever. It's going to happen, and I just...
After days of negotiation, Karen was still no close to getting her children out. Many of the children and women were taken to the al-Hawl refugee camp in Syria. By March this year, the last Clay was captured and thousands of ISIS fight, and their children and wives flee. On Karen's third attempt, she arrives in Iraq to rescue her children. What comforts her is that they are orphans in refugee camp and that they are Australian citizens.
I just came out of hospital on the Thursday, and then the Friday night I get a phone call from Hoda telling me she's in the refugee camp, al-Hawl refugee camp. I could not believe it. And then to get the call from Zainab, it took a couple of days for Zainab because she had to be processed. But getting her call was... being told she was there, to actually hearing her voice was just... I just knew they were all safe, they would all be together.
When she gets there, she rents a hotel and calls Hoda and tells her everything is going as planned. The next day, she gets up at 4:30 in the morning and heads off to the refugee camp. She says she's not going back home without them, no matter how many times she has to show up at the camp. As they cross the Tigris River in Syria, Karen is having a panic attack. The next day, permission is granted to enter the al-Hawl refugee camp. More than 7,000 people are living in the refugee camp. It seems nearly impossible to find the children. After hours and hours of walking, yelling names and asking for them, finding nothing, Karen starts crying, hopeless, but doesn't lose hope, and keep on trying and yelling their names. She finally sees a familiar face. She runs and hugs the little one, and he says, "Wait, I'm going to find my sisters." He first finds Hoda, then runs to find Zainab. She hugs her and cries. Hoda says, "These have been the hardest 5 years of my life." She arrived there when she was 11 years old. Next, Zainab arrives. She hugs her, kisses her, and tears of joy fall to the ground. She bought them snacks, sandals, and things to enjoy while they are there. Even inside the camp, girls are not allowed to remove their veils because it is strictly enforced by ISIS followers in the camp. Karen is meeting her great-grandchildren for the first time. It has been 10 days since Karen arrived in Syria. Australian officials are telling her the children will be released, but she has to be patient. It is unclear how long it will take.
Well, I'd do anything for them. And I just want it on the record that I'm really frustrated about how long it's taking to get my kids.
Yeah.
this is it. I'm leaving Syria. I didn't think I'd be crossing over without the children, but I am, and I'll be waiting for them on the other side. I just hope it doesn't take too long.